solitude and silence. All right. Solitude and silence. Silence is something that we tend to be uncomfortable with. Oftentimes, it's something that we avoid. I'm taking maybe a couple seconds between each sentence. And I know that for some, it just feels awkward or you really tuned in, right? As soon as someone goes quiet, we tend to immediately go, wait, what happened? And we focus. So solitude and silence is absolutely fundamental to our lives and our spirituality. Silence removes noise and it removes the distraction that builds up around us. What's also amazing about solitude and silence is that it removes the influence of peers, parents, teachers, culture, other influence around us, so that the only influence in that silence and that moment is God. It removes every other influence so that we can hear from him clearly. We can hear his direction authentically. If you were sitting on the couch of your living room with Jesus and there was a bunch of music blaring and 50 other people talking, it might be a little harder to hear him, right? Maybe all of that's happening and you're trying to text, cook, clean, and watch a movie all at the same time. Are you going to be able to hear what Jesus wants to say to you? Silence and solitude is where that happens. And solitude requires us to be silent. But oftentimes I notice that more and more so today, I think people are afraid of silence. In some ways, I think it might be because people are afraid of loneliness, that we think in the solitude, we're actually lonely. But you can be alone and not be lonely. Part of that is our perspective of it. If you feel the need to be around people to have your life have any meaning, oh my goodness, then you need solitude all the more. We need to destroy that idol ruling over your life that says without other people around you, you have no purpose, you have no meaning, you have no value, nothing good is taking place or happening. You should be able to be entirely on your own and be completely full of radiant life and joy, purpose and intimacy and relationship, because you are in the presence of a holy and infinite God who is with you forever and always in every moment. You never are truly alone. And the more you know God, the less lonely you will be. But I think our fear of loneliness can cause us to avoid silence. The other challenge is people are so manic. We're so used to moving and being busy and jumping from one task to the other and one thing to the next and one activity. We never have any moments of pause. We just keep going. And so we get so used to this pace of constantly moving that we find that it's hard for us to slow down and to stop. Just this week, I was using my phone and I was texting more people than I normally do. I was texting and making calls and constantly using this phone. And every time I would use it and I would swipe and I'd text and get a notification, then I'd put my phone down and I'd walk to the next room and I would find myself turning back around, picking back up my phone and seeing if the next text had come in. I got so used to this rhythm of go, 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 that when something wasn't happening, I felt like something was wrong and I needed to go back and make sure things were going again. We get so used to moving and hyperactivity that simply slowing and being peaceful doesn't even make sense to us anymore. And I feel like one of the blessings of the COVID season is that it gave us an opportunity to slow down. And I know that because of fear of solitude, fear of the quiet, or just the being used to this manic hyperactivity in our lives, some of us have just simply filled the quiet points with more activity. But we did have an opportunity and we did make that choice on our own. What if we use this moment as an opportunity to remove the noise and to lean into the silence so that we could hear from God in a way that we haven't before? Another value of silence is that it forces us to wrestle with our thoughts, the things going on in our hearts. If you never stop, then you never take time to think about what is going on in your mind and in your soul. There is so much happening in here. There is worry and fear and anxiety, constant thoughts of insecurity, insufficiency, inadequacy, feeling we use our own words to tear ourselves down, to disrespect ourselves, to discourage ourselves, to worry. What if I don't do this? What if I don't do that? What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen if I don't get this assignment in, or I don't turn in that, or I don't talk to that person, or I don't turn this on, or what if I don't get on the show? What if I don't watch this? There's so much hyperactivity that we don't take time to listen to our thoughts. So solitude and silence, what it does, turn off the phone, put it in another room, get the music and the sound and the noise away from us, go for a quiet walk, find a quiet space in town or in a park or by a stream or on a mountaintop. We get away, we get into a quiet place, and it can be in the silence of our own room, but we begin to hear the thoughts of our own heart. We begin to hear the fears and the insecurities. And sometimes we get faced with the traumas. We get faced with the hurts and the pains and the cracks in our facade. We wear masks our entire life, and sometimes in the silence, we put the mask down and we're forced to look into the mirror and see what is truly going on. And I understand being afraid to do so. I understand not wanting to look in the mirror, but only by engaging with the thoughts in our heart can we move into that next spot in our lives. Only through engaging in those things can we move into the more that God has for us, because God's transformation comes by addressing those points and bringing healing and reconciliation and transformation to them. If you never stop, you will never grow. Silence also postures us in a position to hear. We don't just hear our own thoughts, but we hear God's. We hear his voice. We still ourselves to hear the still, small, and quiet voice of the Lord, the whisper in the wind, his gentle, quiet voice to us. If you never stop, if you never are alone, if you're never in solitude, you will miss this. We have to prioritize being fully present, fully silent, fully with God alone. And I promise if you do this, you will be shocked. You will be amazed by what happens. You will be amazed by what takes place and what God says to you.
Well, I hope this has been a helpful introduction for you on the topic of silence and solitude. Where are you going to start? What are you going to do? I would suggest looking at your calendar and blocking out some very intentional time to begin exercising this spiritual discipline so you can grow. If this video has been helpful, hit the like button, hit subscribe for future content. We're going to do a deeper dive into all of the spiritual disciplines in the future. And comment below if there's anything that you would like to know more about or something just really jumped out to you. I would love to chat with you in the comments. But if this has been good, there's another video coming. Let's continue on in the spiritual disciplines.